Welcome to Story Time from the book, Have I Told Y'all This? This is stories that happened in my life, in my husband's life, in our family, and it's just short stories. And I will read them to you as we go along. Today I'm going to read you about going to the picture show in Collins in the old Chevrolet with no tail lights. Now this is a picture on my grandfather's car, and it's all packed up with boxes and bags. My grandfather and grandmother and my aunt were going to McAllen, Texas from Collins, Mississippi, going on a visit, and you can see. Now, we did not have a picture of our 1937 Chevrolet, but the back vent window would open toward the back like that. And I'm going to read you about when we went to the picture show in Collins, which was from our house where I grew up. It was about 5 miles. And we didn't have a tail light on our car. Mother said that we could go to the picture show if we could rig up a reflector for a tail light on the old car. The movie The Bells of St. Mary's was playing at the Pix Theater in Collins in our town. My sisters Vivian, Eve, Jane, and I bounced around as we fed the cows and fed the chickens, fed the hogs. And when our brother Joe came to the corn crib where we were shucking and shelling corn, we blasted him with pleas to drive us to town to the picture show. Our oldest sister, Olene, had said no, she couldn't drive because when we got there, she didn't think that we would be able to push the old car up to crank it when the movie was over. She would go with us. Well, Joe consented if we could fix the tail light because we always had to push that old car off to get it to crank. Well, we found a piece of blue glass from a broken milk and magnesia bottle, but that wouldn't do. Blue wouldn't do, and we had no way to attach it anyway. And I said, well, let's just go without a tail light. Why do we have to have a tail light anyway? We go to church and we go to the ball games at the school at night, and we don't have a tail light there. My brother Joe said, they're just country dirt roads. Haven't you ever heard tell of speed cops? They give you a ticket if your car doesn't have a tail light. And besides, someone might run into the back of you and have a wreck if they couldn't see your car. And they surely couldn't see our old car because it's black. And Vivian Eve said, and that's not all. Taylor Jones is a policeman in Collins, and I heard he was tough. If they get after us, we could outrun them. Daddy drives fast. Joe, why can't you drive as fast as Daddy? Olene said, you are so stupid for a 7-year-old. If we ran fast and tried to outrun them, they would cram us all in jail and then throw away the key. And besides that, Joe does not even have a driver's license yet, and they may execute him. Having no driver's license was of no real concern since Joe had been driving most of his life. He had learned to drive before he started school, and now that Daddy was working off, Joe did all the tractor work and most of the truck and car driving. And besides that, he had been old. That meant that he never did spin a wheel or show out. When Mother was approached for help, she rendered a lengthy oratory about the virtues of thriftiness, reminding us of how hard Daddy was working in Tennessee, where it was frozen, and they were building something big for the government up at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and how it was necessary for her to stay home with baby Eloise and not go to the picture show, and she would save the 25 cents her ticket would cost and how many pairs of socks our 15-cent tickets money would cost. Well, Mother's sermon was the same we'd heard numerous times before. The names were changed to fit the occasion. This time, it inspired one of my siblings with the answer to our dilemma. One of us would hold the flashlight out the back vent window and shine it toward the ground. Then the reality of the situation sent my emotions into reverse. I thought, oh no. We would look so poor poking down Main Street of Collins, Mississippi, with an arm dangling out a window holding a flashlight for a makeshift tail light. I might be only 7 years old, but I was fully aware that my friend Linda Jordan, who was 8 years old, was rich. Her daddy had a grocery store next door to the picture show, and he had a brand new Ford car. And she got to go to the picture show every time she wanted to, and would most probably be standing outside the show watching to see who all was driving into town. But I wanted to go to the show really bad, so I kept my thoughts to myself, and I figured out that as we entered town, I would scrooge down in the car and not be seen. Well, we jumped chairs as we scurried around the house getting dressed. It was already dark, and we'd have to hurry to get to town by 7. Joe stopped at the end of the dirt road before he turned onto the paved highway, so Vivian Eve could get fixed in the back. She had been elected to hold the flashlight since Olin was too big and Jane and I were too little. She got on her knees on the back seat and held the flashlight with her right hand out the back vent window. Joe let the old 1937 Chevrolet poke into town. Olin sat on the edge of her front seat, smacking gum, looking for speed cops and hollering, "I think that's one," when every time we met a car. Jane looked out the back window. I scrooched down between the seats to be unseen. My heart pounded in fear. Vivian Eve joked and giggled about being a tail light. Joe parked on a side street that was going downhill, with the front of the car pointing downhill. So when we got out of the picture show, it would be easy to push the car off and get it cranked again. I looked around. I didn't see a speed cop. I didn't see a Tater Jones, and I didn't see my friend Linda Jordan. Oh, the Bells of St. Mary's was a thrilling picture show. The trip back home was a reversal of the trip to town. Vivian Eve claimed that her arm was about to fall off and her fingers were frozen in a circle. But the theme of that song, the theme song, was branded in my brain, and I can still hum it today. We'll close this out.